Abdulaziz Marwan Hassan Mohammed talking with his wife, Hind Sir Al-Khadim Hamid Mukhtar. Their romance began after he immigrated to the United States. Almer Al-Faqi for the New York Times. From an empty hallway at one of his jobs in Manhattan, Abdulaziz Marwan Hassan Mohammed had his own wedding celebration through a fuzzy WhatsApp connection. His family called from Khartoum, Sudan, so he could see his fiancée, Hind Sir Al-Khadim Hamid Mukhtar, receive their marriage license. Relatives passed the phone around the banquet hall, congratulating him via the messaging app. Guests ate fried chicken and falafel. And I guess they had cake, but I didn't see it. Mr. Mohammed, 32, added recently with a laugh. Missing the ceremony in August was yet another in a series of challenges for the long-distance couple, who had struck up a romance after he moved to New York in 2014. They met in Khartoum while they both worked at a heavy equipment company. Mr. Mohammed, who is soft-spoken and describes himself as shy, was fixing a computer 4 years ago when Ms. Mukhtar, an accountant, introduced herself. She shook his hand with the warmth and confidence of a friend, he said. She's really outgoing, he added. The opposite of me. About a year before, Mr. Mohammed learned he had won the Electronic Diversity Visa lottery through the State Department. It provides a select number of spots to well-educated people from countries with historically low rates of immigration to the United States. Mr. Mohammed did not want to start a relationship in Sudan only to leave soon after, he said, so he kept his love for Ms. Mukhtar a secret. He had long dreamed of moving to New York, thanks to us and descriptions by friends. For him, the city represented an escape from problems at home. Mr. Mohammed teaching a class at Borough of Manhattan Community College, where he works as an instructor's assistant and a lab technician. He is also a part-time student there. Almer Al-Faqi for the New York Times. Mr. Mohammed was born in Saudi Arabia after his father, Marwan Hassan Mohammed Jab, moved the family from Sudan to the port city of Jeddah to take a job at an import-export company. Although Mr. Mohammed and most of his 5 siblings were born in Saudi Arabia and practice Islam, as ethnic Sudanese, they were treated as second-class citizens, he said. When he was 10, his eldest brother, who was born in Sudan, returned there for college, and most of the family, discouraged by racial tensions, followed. Soon after, in 1997, the United States announced trade sanctions against Sudan, throwing the country's economy in turmoil. The Trump administration lifted the sanctions last month. Because of the economic climate, Mr. Jab had stayed behind and continued working in Saudi Arabia, and Mr. Mohammed had returned to Jeddah after finishing college. In his early 20s, discouraged by the lack of opportunities in Saudi Arabia, Mr. Mohammed twice entered the visa lottery but was not selected. After his third application in 2012, he stared in disbelief at his name on the screen when he saw he was among the 50,000 successful candidates. I was like, is this legit? He recalled. I thought, this is my escape. I'm leaving Saudi Arabia. Mr. Mohammed and Ms. Mukhtar in a wedding portrait taken this month when he visited Sudan. They had not seen each other since 2014. Bono's studio, but this was not a golden ticket into the United States. Mr. Mohammed still had to apply for a visa in Sudan, where he lived and worked while his paperwork was being processed. When he received an interview date, he told Ms. Mukhtar, a coworker who had become a close friend, about his plans. They agreed to stay in touch. Mr. Mohammed had been excited for his future in New York, he said, but he worried that he was leaving behind the woman who might be his future wife. After he settled in the Cobble Hill neighborhood of Brooklyn in late 2014, he made it a priority to keep in contact with Ms. Mukhtar, despite the 7-hour time difference. Unable to hold in his feelings any longer, Mr. Mohammed had soon broached the subject. And she said that she already knew, he recalled. Then the couple's romance began. After about a year and a half, they began talking about a marriage. The official proposal came several months later, in September 2016, when, keeping with Sudanese tradition, Mr. Mohammed had his father ask Ms. Mukhtar's family for permission. At the wedding in August, following custom, his father and her uncle signed the marriage license. Now, as they wait to be reunited, the couple continue to talk regularly. Even 4 times a day is not enough, Mr. Mohammed had said. Mr. Mohammed hopes to be reunited with his wife within the year. In the meantime, they talk frequently. Even 4 times a day is not enough, he said. Almer Al-Faqi for the New York Times. Mr. Mohammed said he appreciated New York's many opportunities. In December, he earned several technology certifications that are not offered in Sudan, he said. But life in the city has been difficult financially. He works 3 jobs, as an on-call field computer technician at an information technology company and as a part-time instructor's assistant and a lab technician at Borough of Manhattan Community College, where he is studying computer networking part-time. He makes about $25,000 a year. In November 2016, he received $110 from Community Service Society of New York, one of the 8 organizations supported by the New York Times Neediest Cases Fund, to buy slacks, shirts and shoes for job interviews. Mr. Mohammed returned to Sudan this month, seeing his wife in person for the first time since 2014. They will not see each other again until Ms. Mukhtar's visa application is processed. They hope to live together in the United States within the year, he said. In the meantime, he plans to get additional certifications in the networking field and then support Ms. Mukhtar, 30, who would like to earn a master's degree in accounting. So far, Mr. Mohammed has visited just 2 states, New York and Virginia. He plans to see all 50, he said, but is waiting on the other 48 until his wife arrives. I'll do those with her, he said. I'm purposely withholding all the entertainment in my life until she comes. We'll see them together.